All right, guys. So we are live today with Mohammed. Mohammed is one of our guys in the program. Amazing guy. And what are your numbers right now? Like how much you're doing right now in volume?
250K a month. This month I've released the official launch of the brand that I told you about. And the first month, the September, was 250K.
Oh, nice. So basically 250 was a new brand.
Yeah, new brand, new from scratch.
Wow. So you developed like a custom product?
It's not custom yet, but it's very difficult to get your hands on it. And I literally spent 2 months for this brand and product. And I was doing a lot of testings. And at the end, around August, I was ready to go with the brand. I also implemented the no score page thing, which is something that I recommend everyone to do, because when scaling, I mean, as you know, and everyone knows that scaling, the score thing, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And so in August, I also implemented that. And then around 27 August, I started running ads from scratch. And then in September, I did around 255K in the first month and close to 50K net profit.
Okay, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. But how did you like evolve to this? Like, how did you like came with the idea of like launching your own like product?
So the thing is, I mean, a lot of dropships, what they do is they open a site, get a product, and they're going to test the product. And once they see some traction with the product, they're going to scale it. And once they scale the product, you know, they open a site, and it's most of the time a one product store. They milk out the product. Once they milk out the product, they close the site, move on to the next product, and that's what the most people do. And I was one of them, you know. But I realized, like, oh, what the hell am I doing? Because if you look at the end goal, I mean, my end goal is to be worth at least $200 million, you know. And revenue-wise, nobody will reach 200 million net worth anytime soon with revenue, right? With eCom revenue. I mean, if you look at the big guys, I mean, how they achieve such high net worth is by building a brand and then selling the brand. That was my long-term goal. And knowing that, why should I spend any second on building those quick milk cow websites, you know?
You know, from my perspective, at least, like dropshipping is good, like to make money, right? Make money, stack the money, right? Then you have some like cash reserves, right? That you can like, okay, so you can think more like longer term, right? Is that the same for you? Like, have you accumulated some like stack before that? Like,
yeah. So when you jump into eCom, I mean, sure, it's good it's not bad to have some cooked milk cows. I mean, to cash out the product. I mean, sure, you have to build some capital because you can't build a brand with 10K, for example, you know. You have to have some capital. And I mean, I was at a point, I was like, I realized all this. And then I realized, like, I mean, I can proceed doing those milking out websites. But I mean, I'm at a point of my life. I mean, I'm not a millionaire or whatever, but I'm at a point of my life. I don't need more money, you know. I need to build a long term. I don't need, for example, 150K net profit coming in every month. I don't need it. So because of that, I was like, yeah, fuck it. I was running around 5 or 6 winning products at the time. I cut all the products, I cut the stores, I built the brand, and luckily I could move around 3 products. I could have moved to the brand and just proceeding from there. And also another thing about building a brand, if you don't have the capital or don't want to invest a lot of money in it, or can't invest a lot of money in it, you don't have to invest tons of money. I mean, one big change that you can do, pick a niche that you want to go into. I mean, you have to pick something you care about. I mean, the thing that I jumped in is something I care about, you know. And if you pick a niche, it can be anything. Just run all your winning products under that niche. Instead of doing those 3 or 4 websites and then 4 products and then close all 4 down. I mean, run all those products under the same store and your brand gets some tractions and you can cash some money at the same time and build up some capital to go to the next level with brands. Because with dropshipping, I mean, if you get a product that's doing well, it's doing a lot of money. I mean, a lot other people is going to jump on it. Yeah. And the thing is with brands, the reason why you need capital, I mean, in my eyes, is to you know, have a custom product and do some other investments in your brand that others are not willing to make. Because right now, what most people do is they have a product and people can copy that just like that. They only copy the product. the website and they're ready to go. I mean, if they have to invest, for example, 60K to have a custom product, and they have to invest in other things to get to your level, 98% will not do that. And that way, I mean, when you invest a lot of money in your brand, I mean, the more money you invest, the bigger the walls are for competitors to take some water out of your water, you know, out of your bucket.
For sure, man. And this is like exactly what we had. We had the call, like live call today, right? And some guys asked about like selling the business. We sell typically we sell 2-3 like stores a year, right? So we grow them and then we sell them. I mean, these are like drop shipping, partially branded. There is some barrier of entry into that, but then, you know, the thing that we're working now is exactly like building such a high fucking barrier of entry for other people that like try and fucking copy me, try and read my ads, I mean, good luck. And this is, I think that this like the mindset shift, right? That a lot of people have to like realize in terms of kind of, you know, bulletproofing the business, right? Because like dropshipping business, it's so low barrier of entry. And it's good on one side because you can get started fast, but then on the other side, it's so like so can other people, right? That's good, man. So you just got to the point, and then what happened? Like what has been like that kind of inception, like in you, that like you just observed like how everyone is like doing the same thing, and you decided like, doesn't make any sense. Like what happened for you?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me was so I was watching I watched a lot of videos from Sam Ovens and Alex Becker, and I saw a video of Alex Becker, and I literally could see that Alex Becker is having a lot of regrets, and the number one thing you should eliminate in your life is minimize regrets. Regrets is the last thing you want to have. And I literally see the regret in his eyes that he was not focusing on long term and focusing on cash, building up cash flows. I mean, he was talking about he was running, for example, 5 different businesses, and back then he was thinking like, I should build 5-7 different businesses and build up as much as money as possible each month. And now you can see, I mean, he's not broke or something, but you can see the regret, because if he started back then with focusing long term and building something that you can exit, for example, couple $100 million, he would have been worth, you know, a lot of money right now. Instead, you know, his friends, for example, back in the days, they did, for example, Russell Branson from ClickFunnels, he's now worth, for example, 200 million. And he was starting, I think, around the same time as Alex Becker. And, you know, you see the result of building long term. And looking, when I was looking at it, I was thinking like, Alex Becker is literally explaining his mistakes in the past. And I was thinking like, if he explains what you should not do and the mistakes he made, why should I make the same mistake, you know? I mean, I'm literally the thing is, most people, when they make money, the thing what they do is, what most people do, I mean, they're so fucked. They are making money, and from the money, they are going up and up the lifestyle. The more their cash flow increases, the more their lifestyle increases. They're going to buy a house or whatever. They're going to lease a car, or lease a Lamborghini. A lot of people do that. The more you go up and up your lifestyle, I mean, the more money you have to make. You know, I mean, if you're going to, right now, I'm at a place of my life with building the brand. I don't have to make money. You know, I can, for example, reinvest all my profits back. Don't worry about it. If somebody else is going to compete with me and the other guy has a lot of expenses, I mean, he can take the amount of risk that I can make, you know. And business is, as you know, all about taking risks. When you're going to obtain all of those lifestyle things and going to buy a car, you're literally limiting yourself with taking risks, because you can't take the risk. You always have the thoughts back in your mind like, you know, I can take some risk, but at the end, I have to pay for this house, I have to pay for this car, or whatever bullshit lifestyle people are living these days.
That's so smart, man. I don't have a car. Like, I mean, I can afford, like,
I am proud of you.
I mean, I can afford any car, like cash, like today, like yesterday. But like every time I'm living here like 15 minutes away, right? So I'm thinking like, if I'm buying a car, then I'll not walk. Like, so that's not good for health, right? Like that's like extra 30 minutes of walking. And then you pay for a car, like it stays in the garage, like, because, you know, I'm working, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And then you're paying for it. And then, you know, and then all of these distractions. I mean, cars fucking break, cars, like, you have to put a gasoline in it. Like, there's so many things, right? And so those decisions, right, you just added like 5-10 decisions that you have to make, like on a daily or on a weekly basis, that otherwise you don't have to like make. So why would you come?
I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, look at it this way. I mean, you already mentioned you have a lot of decisions that's coming onto your plate. It's costing a lot of time, costing a lot of thoughts. But the biggest thing is, what I said is, you're limiting yourself of taking risks, you building up a lifestyle that's being difficult to maintain every day. And the other thing is it's taking focus from you. When building a business, you need at least 90% of everybody has 100% focus they can spend every day. And if you want to build a business successfully, and big, you have to pour at least, the very least 90% of your energy into your business. If you, most people are obtaining once they're getting money. And once all of those distractions stack on each other, you end up with at least 20 or 30% of your energy that's wasted and not being spent on your business. And if people want to accept it or not, you can't build a business with 70% of your energy. You can't. If you want to have a net worth of a couple million, you can do it. Do whatever you want. But if you want to, reach the big levels, you can do it with 70 or 80% of your energy. You have to be very wise with your energy. Also about that focus. So what I do is what I recommend everyone to is live very minimalistic. Don't obtain all those crazy things. I recommend everybody to do a detox, dopamine detox. Before the call, I already mentioned it to you. Alex Beck explains this very well. But why can people play video games for 15 hours, but not work on their business for 2 hours? That's because playing video games gives you dopamine hits every time you play it. And building a business doesn't give you any dopamine hits. Your brain's literally, dopamine is like drugs for them. And see it this way, knowing that you can do something for 15 hours, this means that it is possible to reverse it. So what I mean with that reverse is with building your mind in such a way that instead of gaming for 15 hours nonstop, you can work on your business 15 hours nonstop. So what I did is just deleting social media. I deleted all my social media profiles. That's the biggest dopamine hit. I canceled Netflix, fucking smash my PS4, remove all the distractions, and literally you have to sacrifice diet your food as well. You can't eat junk as well, because your whole goal of dopamine detox is basically remove every dopamine hit from your life, so that you end up with only you and your business. Because when your brain doesn't get any dopamine hits for the first 3 days, it's going to watch for things where your brain can get dopamine hits from, because your brain will get a low level of dopamine, and so it's going to check where they can get dopamine from. And if the only thing you're doing in your business, in your life, in your day, is working on your business, your brain will reprogram itself to get the dopamine from your business. And literally after 3 or 5 days, you notice that you're pumped to work on your business every day, man. You can't even sleep well because you're so excited to work on your business, because other than your business, there isn't anything for your brain to get dopamine hits from, So your brain will get obsessed with your business. You literally can't think about anything else. And the big thing also with video games, when you are playing video games, your brain is optimized for video games. So what I mean with that, when you play video games, your brain is always, even without you knowing, you're not controlling it, but your brain is thinking every day, like, how can I get better in this game? You don't even know it. If you use that in your advantage, so if you only work on your business, your mind will also work in your favor by thinking problem solving about your business. Instead of thinking problem solving about games, video games is going to think problem solving for your business. And I can't express you how much crazy ideas I got without even thinking about it. My brain was coming up with it out of nowhere. I'm sure you've experienced it also. Yeah. It's crazy what your brain can come up with when doing that.
That's such a good point, man. I think that's where a lot of people have to start, right? Like with removing, like I have, for example, blocker for, I haven't deleted my profiles yet, but I have a blocker for ads on YouTube. I have the blocker for like newsfeed on YouTube. I have the blocker for like ads on Facebook. So trying to like limit that. And now like also structuring my time in a way where I have like blocks of time to work on a specific task, right? So it's like nothing else that distracts, like all of the distractions, like turn off, that's it.
Yeah.
And man, like the amount of work you can get done like within those few hours is like, it's like you can get more stuff done within like few hours than you would get done like within like fucking week.
I couldn't agree more. Everybody, when they're working, they're constantly checking their phone, constantly checking their Instagram or message they get, and they get distracted, man. When you implement the dopamine detox I was mentioning, and also quit every distraction you have, it's crazy how much energy you can put into your business and actually wanting to do it. Because when you remove all those dopamine hits, you actually get hyped and pumped to work on your business. It's crazy, man.
Such a good point, man. Such a good point. Tim mentioned, so your mindset is right 100%, but the short term needs to be executed to some degree. What do you think about that?
Well, what things is he referring to short term?
Like short term, I think more like profit oriented, like make something that's.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, if some people are having such a lifestyle that they can't make $0 each month, you know, and they can't go through that. The thing I mentioned, I am at a place of my life. I can, for example, don't make any money for the next 12 months, and I'm all right, you know. But some people, because they have a lifestyle, they have to make profits each month, man. And like I said, if you have a lifestyle to maintain, you're limiting yourself and you're fucking yourself over and cutting yourself in the fingers. Don't do that shit, man. It's waste. Don't do that.
It's a good point. It's a good point. So it took us like, we've been in position to invest into like long-term, you know, like brands and stuff like for, last like 2-3 years now. But we just started in our company, we just started to do it like this year, right? Because before that it was always like, it's not like the high overhead, but it's just like, I think it's this like short-term, you know, like focus, right? Short-term like profit, like optimization. We would do like dropship, whereas like, you know, there have been like very good opportunities to build long-term brands. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, 100%. And also the thing is, this month I wasn't even working for the profits. It was just the first month launch, and I was just launching a whole bunch of ads. And at the end of the month, I was dumping a lot of money on ads to get the ad limit raised, because since that's going to come. But I wasn't even optimizing for profits or whatever, man. Even though I made, it's not a lot, but close to 50K net profit, I wasn't optimized for profits. I can make each month $0 profit. I'm fine with that. This month, what I actually had to do was invest that extra net profit I made back into the business. What I'm going to do for sure. I mentioned to you about the product that I'm probably going to develop myself. When the pandemic's over, I'm going to fly to China to discuss this with the factory, what we can do. And just building a barrier of wall as thick as possible, so people can just copycat me, and so I can play long term without having to worry about people copying my shit.
That's exactly. So we are releasing like I'm releasing the new version of the training, and these are exactly the point that I covered there. Like, how do you make your business like basically more protected, right? Like once you have validation with the product, like how do you make it more difficult for people to just like come in and, you know, take what you have worked on?
Exactly.
So
it's literally the same thing Amazon did. Why isn't anyone taking over? Competing with Amazon, because Amazon, the way they structure, their wall is so fucking thick. Nobody can compete with them, because if you want to compete with them, you have to get the 1-day post delivery process. Because when Amazon was starting, DHL and all those delivery companies couldn't do a 1-day shipping. So what did Amazon do? They invested, or even probably billions of dollars, into creating their own post office fulfillment center. And that's just one of the many examples that Amazon did themselves. They have their own payment processor. They have a lot of things that they made themselves. And the biggest thing is just creating a fulfillment center themselves. That's the biggest thing. If people want to compete with Amazon, they have to be willing to create all those separate things in order to compete with Amazon, because otherwise they won't have a chance. And no company will burn billions to try to compete with Amazon.
And even if you had it, right, like you still need like lots and lots of time, right, like to build it, like the whole infrastructure. Like
exactly.
you just cannot catch up. Like even if you start like today, you'll finish in like 10 years, because like it took them like 20 years, right? Because that's what it took them. So
exactly,
you're losing on time, like not only on money that you have to invest, right? Not only like on it's just incredible. Over time, it just like build that, you know. And I was reading the shareholder letters, like from 1997, the earliest, you know, like I think when they were public. And
I read it too.
It's very interesting how they always had this, like, you know,
always from the beginning,
long term. So
exactly, man.
Very, very good. So man, like what's working for you for scaling, like on Facebook? How do you scale? Like, for me, like I see scaling as very simple stuff, right? Like if you take care of the good product, like if the product is good, if you solve like a good problem, if again, putting some of those like elements where you you're not like just as everyone else, where it's more like, you know, there's some barrier of entry for other people, then like scaling is easy, right? Like I honestly, like people see scaling as something like very complex. For me, scaling is very easy once you've taken care of the fundamental things. How do you see it, and what's working for you?
Yeah, I mean, exactly like you said. I mean, I was thinking the same thing a while back. I was thinking like, what kind of magic tricks are people doing to reach such high numbers? But at the end, I realized how fucking easy scaling is, and that's that's the smallest part about everything. It's not that hard. I mean, scaling is easy. Once you know how it goes, it's so easy. And scaling in my eyes is also repeating what works. I mean, a lot of people confuse testing with scaling. Once people are seeing some traction and seeing some results, what most people do is, for example, they getting good results with whatever they do, and then they are asking the group, okay, how should I start bid caps now? How should I start target ROAS campaigns or whatever? Or how should I start CBOs now? And they totally forget about what brought them good profits and revenue in the first place. In my eyes, scaling is just double down on what works. And for me, what works, I mean, I don't even touch a lot of CBOs. I go hard on ABO a lot. And I just dupe a lot of ads and create a lot of ads that are horizontal. I don't even scale vertical. I don't even scale vertical a lot. I do it all ABO and all mostly horizontal.
So you just test, like, let's say, new variations of like lookalikes, interests, stuff like that?
Yeah, so let's say from the beginning, what I do is depending on the price of the product, but let's say on average, I start with $20 a day ad sets. You don't want to do $5 a day ad sets. I mean, that's just not going to work these days. You have to do bigger budgets, at least, very least $10 a day, but I'd recommend $20 a day and I create 7 ad sets. Some people do 10, you can do that, but from 7 assets alone, you'll get enough information if it's working or not. Those other 2 are just waste. From there, if it's working, yeah, just keep repeating of creating and testing more interests. And when you once certain interests in the meantime are reaching break-even point and profitable, just duping them 2 times, a 100% budget increase and 25%. If something is doing crazy good, I do 4 duplicates and 25, 50, 75, and 100% budget increase. But I avoid duplicates as much as possible to not let the assets die or whatever. What I mostly do. So from there, I create a lot of interest. Test all of them out. I don't touch any CBOs until 10K a day yet. From there, when I have enough data on my pixel, I start creating lookalike audiences. And when creating lookalike audiences, I just start with 1%, 2%. I'm not doing 1 to 2 yet. I'm just 1 to 0 to 1, 0 to 2, 0 to 3, all the way up to 10. When I have done all those 10, then I start doing 1 to 2%, 3 to 4%, 5 to 6%. And from there, see what works. And once I see from those assets what's working, for example, if 1 to 2% is working well and 7 to 8% working well, I put those 2 together into a new ad set. And at the same time, I try to create as much as variables from the lookalike audience, for example, lookalike audience purchase of your content. I try to create as much variance, as much as options possible, for example, 3 to 7 as well. I mean, just a bunch of things. And once I've milked that out, I'm going to jump from video content to add to cart, for example, or video views or visitor by time spent, 5%, 10%, 25%. By the way, visitor by time spent is doing really well for me always. So a lot of people don't see that. And
I have it on the cheat sheet, man, for like 2 years. What is this? Yeah, we have this like cheat sheet for like I mean, it's the same cheat sheet like 2 years, and yeah, man, and this is what we do, and it works for you as well. Like also the percentage of the visitors, percentage of the time spent.
Those are so good, man.
Yeah, percentage of the time spent, then people who've engaged with the page. Yes, there's so many like variations. There are like dozens and dozens of variations that you can test.
So much, and I just keep repeating the process that works for me. I just keep repeating until it doesn't work for me. I mean, at the same time, you can test if CBO is working for you. Also, a thing about CBO and ABO and lookalike audiences. I mean, all 3 are good. All 3 are working well for people. A lot of people are rushing into lookalike audiences literally for no reason. I mean, well, once your interest assets are doing well, don't rush into lookalike audiences. People think that once you've reached, for example, X amount of purchases or data, that once you start lookalike audiences, you'll get some crazy gold mine. That's literally not the case. I mean, some interests are even outperforming lookalike audiences. So for people, don't rush into a lookalike audience, man. Just if interest is working for you, keep milking it out. Once you see interests are dying out, then you can move into lookalike audiences. And also for CBO, I see a lot of people asking, what should I start with, CBO or ABO? I mean, in the beginning, first of all, you can use both. There's no wrong or right answer with Facebook. I mean, what works for you doesn't work for somebody else. To begin with, I like to use ABO because you have more control over everything. And a CBO, also people, Facebook, I mean, nobody knows, but CBO don't work most of the time. They don't work for most ad accounts, pixel, and products. If it doesn't work, I mean, just leave it. I've had products where CBO just doesn't work, and I try to force it, but you end up losing tons of money because with CBO you're working with big budgets.
Good stuff, man. Do you have a separate campaign for lookalikes and interest? Also, do you make new campaigns for each geo?
No, I don't create separate campaigns. I like to have it organized and always in the same campaign. I have one campaign for lookalike audience and cold interest and all that. One campaign, and the second campaign is for creative test. I duplicate winning ad sets into the creative campaign to test out a bunch of creatives, and that's also something that most people undervalue. You need to keep testing creatives all the time, and I mean, don't stop. Keep testing creatives, and for each ad set, I spent around $50 for each creatives, and once I get the results, I put a new test in. You want to test all the time. Don't stop it. Just test all the time. You can test all kinds of things. I start with, for example, the video, then the thumbnail, then the ad copy, then the headline, and then maybe the button. Learn more and shop now. But that's it. You can test a lot of things. And so those are two campaigns. And the third campaign is obviously retargeting. When starting from day zero, and you get a product that's doing well, I start retargeting on day 7. And what I do with retargeting, I mean, what most people do is they spend a couple $100 on the retargeting, just leave it at that. And I did the same thing, but I noticed you get the crazy ROAS from retargeting. I mean, at least 4 or 5 ROAS. So I was thinking, like, let's double down on that as well. So what I also do is move a lot of budget to retargeting. And what I do, instead of creating one retargeting, one ad set, for example, for last 7 days video views, and then put a bunch of ads in it. What I do instead is, for example, create video views last 7 days, 95% video views. And for last 7 days, 95% video views, I create 8 different ad sets. And for each ad set, I set a specific ad. And with the ads I am implementing, I'm not using the same ads I used before. What I do is retargeting. I create ads with possible things that's holding back the customer. Maybe you're probably wondering, do I have a guarantee, money back guarantee? In case that may be a reason, I just create an ad that's specifically expressing that you have money back guarantee. So I assign that to an ad, and then have 7 or more other ad sets to tackle each possible objective a customer may have, and use that for retargeting. That way you spend, for example, I spent $5 a day for each ad set. In other words, you spend $50 a day for each audience. So 95% video views last 7 days, you spend $40 on that. You spend $40 for 75% video views, and also for view content and visitor by time spent and all that. You can create a whole bunch of audiences.
Awesome stuff, man. Awesome. Yeah. So what would be your top 3 recommendations for drop shippers? And as you know, we have some good guys in our group doing very good numbers already. And we have people who are a bit earlier in the process. Yeah. What would be your top 3 recommendations?
What I recommend you guys to do is work with your mindset. And I mean, I see a lot of people also in the 7-8 figure group. I mean, they are doing good money. They're having some success, doing some numbers, but they lack mindset. I see very easily a lot of people lack mindset, and people don't realize that entrepreneurship and business is literally 90% mindset. People underestimate mindset. I mean, if you have your mindset right, I mean, you can achieve so much more, because I see a lot of people, they're doing good numbers, but at the same time still working a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I'm confused, well, what are you doing, man? I mean, for example, if you do at least, let's say 3 or 5K net profit every month, quit your fucking job. Because if you do a 9-to-5 job next to your dropshipping store, I mean, you're probably investing 30% of your energy or 40% of your energy into your business. That's not enough to grow it into something big. If you are making more than 5K net profit a month, and that's very least, I mean, anyone should be able to make that. You should quit your fucking job, because when you quit, if you don't quit your job and you're still doing it on the side, or even something crazy, I see people doing their own customer service. I was very confused about that, but people doing customer service on their own, doing 9-to-5 job along with their dropshipping store, you're cutting yourself in the fingers, I'm telling you. You're leaving so much money on the table, because if you could put all those energy into the things that into your business and also into the things that actually makes you money, you make so much more money. I see a lot of people cutting themselves in the fingers by not having the mindset straight and not investing the time wisely. I see a lot of tips on YouTube, all those gurus telling you all kind of magic things, but I think it really comes down to mindset.
What would be like two other things?
Two other things. To not be emotional attached to products. A lot of people, they try to make a product work. To be honest, I think at the end of the day, a lot of products can work, but it depends on how much money you want to spend on it. I mean, a product won't work with 100 a day, or a product probably won't work with $200 spent in total, but it probably will work with $2K spent, for example. But for beginners with not a lot of capital, I recommend you spend at most $100 for maybe $200 for each product. If it doesn't work, cut and move on. People are testing products, it's not working for them, and then they are asking all bunch of questions in the chat. What am I doing wrong? You know what's going on. One thing that can be wrong is your website is not optimized good, or not having good website. But don't worry about ads. The ad site, it's so easy. You create 7 ad sets, on to the budget, do some ads, that's it. Don't worry about ads. I recommend you guys test, kill, test and move fast. Because if you have a winner, I mean, for me, most of the time, within 2 days, it already shows a result. If it's a winner, you know. If it's not winning after 3 days, cut, move on. So that's the second biggest thing. And the third thing, once you make a decent amount of money, don't open up your lifestyle. I mean, you can buy all bunch of stupid shit. You can all buy a design and all that. I can tell you, I bought all that. I was stupid enough to buy all that. And I can tell you, it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. It will get you nothing. Literally nothing. I mean, for the last 1 year, maybe longer, I stopped buying all this shit. Literally nothing. I buy nothing anymore. I'm living minimalistic, because I know if you do all that shit, I mean, I know it's when you're going to make a lot of money, it's you want to do it, but don't do it. Believe me, it gives you nothing. It's also not satisfying. Maybe for a few days, but long term, it will benefit you nothing. Reinvest your profits. And also, if this video goes on YouTube, look, if you're making 1 or 2K a day or more, and you can't get past that, don't be a bitch and invest your money in Alexander. Look, I'm telling you guys, look, don't be a bitch. Look, I'm telling you, if you are not willing to invest the money into your business, or in this case, into Alex's program, I'm telling you straight up, can I say
it? Yeah, man, sure.
You're a fucking bitch. You're a bitch, and you should have never started the business. I mean, if you can't make, I mean, with entrepreneurship, you're going to make a lot of hard decisions. And if this decision is hard for you and you can't make the decision, or you're thinking, yeah, I'm not sure if I want to invest that money, you're a bitch and quit already. If you make around 2K a day, you can't get past it, invest in Alex's program. I'm telling you guys. Okay. And look, I'm not selling you guys anything. I don't have any course or whatever, so I don't have any filter, and I don't have any benefit from telling you guys. I mean, I'm not affiliate or whatever. I'm telling you guys straight up, if you make 1K or more a day, invest in Alex's program. If you're not, you're cutting yourself in the fingers, and you're a bitch, and you should have never started a business. Just do it. I mean, look, what I mentioned in the beginning, you want to minimize regrets. You don't want to be stubborn and don't invest the money into, for example, Alex or whatever, and then do it on yourself, fuck it up, and then think your whole life, what if I did invest money into Alex? You don't want to have that regret back. Yeah, you don't want to just do it. You rather lose money, for example, than wonder your whole life, what if I did it? Don't be a bitch and do it.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I mean, for me, it's the same. I invested into training and programs when I couldn't, when I wasn't it was difficult, but I'm thinking back now, and so fuck's sake, those kind of changes, right? You make this adjustment, then over time it's this fucking adjustment becomes so yeah. I mean, you wanna shortcut, right? I mean, could be my program, could be just check who you fucking working with,
yeah, really, man. I mean, a lot of people are hiding from risks. People are hiding from risk. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Because in life, business, put it on the other side. In life, you're going to sacrifice and suffer either way. And it's up to you if you are going to sacrifice and suffer for your goals and the things you care about, or you're going to sacrifice your goals and the things you care about. You can't choose nothing. You have in life, you're going to choose either way. And I mean, that decision should be made very easily, man. I mean, like I said, if you're not going to sacrifice in your life, the things you care about and you sacrifice will become the ultimate sacrifice.
You don't want to like be focused on your business and you're already like removing the social media and stuff. So, and guys, if you're in one of the groups, you've probably seen like Amed like helping you out, guys. And I mean, that will probably end too, because like he's, you know, he wants to like disattach and focus on his business. And so, and man, like you're definitely on the right track. I'm very like proud of you. And next time we chat, like is when you sell the business.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. The exit has to be at the very least 80 million. It won't be next year, 2 years. I mean, if anyone says it's bullshit, but whenever I exit it for at least 80 million, I'll notify you right away, and we'll do another video, man. Always.
Let's do it, man. Awesome.
Thanks for the program, and thanks for being real, because I see a lot of fake people out there. You're literally one of the very few people that's keeping it real, and that actually provides value, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you guys for watching. We're wrapping up, and thank you guys. Thanks, Mohammed. Thank you, everyone.
No problem.